Sibling rivalry. Two small words, but they carry the power to shape relationships, families, and even history. It's something we've seen play out in legends, history books, and even celebrity stories. Remember Cain and Abel from the Bible? Or the feuding British royal siblings? What about the fiercely competitive tennis playing Williams sisters? Or the famous Ambani brothers, whose rivalry is often splashed across the headlines. Sibling rivalry spares no one. It's an age-old phenomenon that's as timeless as family itself. In school, I've seen its effect on kids and have felt helpless at times as the damage is already done at home. The origins always lie at home, and so does the solution. And so this video on sibling rivalry. Welcome to my channel. This is Neena Teacher, and in this new series I'm going to share how you as parents can help your child navigate through this phenomena, which is sibling rivalry. So what exactly is sibling rivalry? It's not just the occasional teasing, yelling, or bickering. It's the underlying competition, jealousy that arises between brothers and sisters. They might even kick, punch, or destroy each other's belongings in fits of rage. And for parents, it can feel like you are refereeing an endless wrestling match, complete with shouting and tears. Now, here's the thing. Sibling rivalry isn't always a bad thing. They are more than just noise and chaos. They are actually an important part of how children learn to resolve conflicts. The skills kids develop during these arguments, like communication, negotiation, compromise, these lay the foundation for their future relationships. You know that sibling rivalry starts even before the younger sibling is born. Imagine this, the baby is on its way and suddenly the older child begins to feel a sense of shift. Mom and dad are focused on the growing bump, the excitement, the baby clothes and the plans, and the firstborn. They start to feel left out. That sense of exclusion can lead to jealousy even before the new baby arrives. As parents, how you act, think, and speak during this time can shape how your older child feels about their sibling. Haven't you heard or met about a child who disliked the idea of a new sibling even before the baby was born? That's the power of perception. So, what shapes do sibling rivalry take at different ages? Well, children experience sibling rivalry in different ways. Younger kids, especially those under the age of 4, often feel confused and jealous, but they can't fully process or articulate those feelings. You might notice it in subtle ways, like them clinging to you more or throwing tantrums over small things. By the time kids are between 8 and 12, the rivalry heats up. They are more aware of their feelings and tend to compete more openly. Who gets better grades? Who's more popular? Who's better at sports? These questions fuel sibling comparisons, not just at home but also at school. As a teacher, I see this dynamic play out all the time. For example, I once had twins in my class. One of them was more academically inclined, while the other excelled in sports. The parents would constantly praise the academic achievements of one child and casually dismiss the sport victories of the other. Guess what happened? The sporty twin began acting out in class. Not because they weren't capable, but because they were seeking attention in any way they could. The age gap between siblings play a big role in shaping their relationship. A 1 year gap can be challenging for mothers as they are still adjusting to the first child while taking on the responsibilities of a newborn. However, the older child is usually too young to feel intense jealousy. A 2 year gap, on the other hand, is often considered ideal. The older child is a little more independent but still young enough to accept the presence of a sibling without feeling overly threatened. In my experience as a teacher, I've seen how larger gaps, say 5 or 6 years, can create unique challenges. Older siblings might adopt a caretaker role, which can be both a blessing and a burden. Let me give you an example. I had a fourth grader who always felt responsible for her younger brother in grade 1. She'd rush to his classroom during breaks to check on him, missing out on her own playtime. So, sibling rivalry doesn't stop at home, it follows kids to school. In fact, schools are often where rivalry intensifies, especially when siblings are in the same school, or worse, even in the same class. For instance, teachers often unintentionally compare siblings, just like parents do. I'm sure you might have heard a teacher say, "Your brother was so good at math, why can't you be like him?" Or "Your sister was such a model student, what happened to you?" Comments like these, even when said jokingly, can hurt deeply. They reinforce feelings of inadequacy and create resentment between siblings. I've also seen how this rivalry can extend to extracurricular activities. There was this one student whose younger sister had joined the same dance class she had been attending for years. Instead of feeling proud, she felt threatened because her sister was naturally talented and started getting more attention from the teacher. The once close siblings began to drift apart because of this unspoken competition. Usually, sibling relationships follow into one of the following categories. One, they can be best friends, like they can share everything, have a strong bond, or they can be rivals. They're constantly competing for attention, resources, and recognition. Then the third kind is where the siblings can be a caretaker and protector mode. One sibling takes on the role of a guardian while the other depends on them. Then we have some who are the disconnected types. They coexist, but they don't share a strong emotional bond. And then we have the estranged types. Over time, unresolved conflicts lead to complete disconnection. Now, which category your children fall into often depends on how you, as parents, handle their relationship from the beginning. As parents, your words and actions hold immense power. How you treat each child, how you handle comparisons, and how you resolve conflicts in your own life set the tone for your children's relationships. Let's go back to the classroom for a moment. I once had a pair of siblings who were pole opposites. The younger one was quiet and reserved, while the older one was outgoing and popular. During the parent-teacher meetings, the parents would only ask a lot of questions about the older child, almost as if the younger one didn't exist. Over time, the younger sibling's self-esteem took a hit, and the child started withdrawing even more. It doesn't have to be this way. Parents who recognize and celebrate each child's unique strengths can foster a healthier sibling bond. In this series, we'll dive deep into the world of sibling rivalry. We'll explore why it happens, how it evolves over time, and most importantly, what you as parents can do to turn it into an opportunity for growth. I'm going to share some practical tips, real life stories, and even strategies you can try to strengthen the bond between your children. Whether it's understanding the ideal age gap, handling comparisons, or helping your child resolve conflicts, this series will give you the tools to navigate sibling rivalry like a pro. So stay tuned because by the end of this series, you'll see sibling rivalry not as a problem but as a chance to teach your kids invaluable life skills. Let's turn those fights into foundations for lifelong friendships.